Next witness.
It will be Julie Zwerner.
Can you raise your right hand for us, please?
Raise your right hand.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
Do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give will be the truth and the truth and nothing but the truth after that?
All right, thank you. Come up, sit here, please.
Good afternoon, Julie. Can you state your name, please, for the jury, and then spell it for the court reporter, please?
Sure. Julie Zwerner, Julie Zwerner.
And can you tell the jury what your relationship to Abby is?
Yeah, Abby is my middle child.
And tell the jury a little bit about your family. How many children do you have?
Okay. Have 3 children. Daniel is the oldest. 16 months after he was born, I had twin girls, Abby and her sister Hannah.
Okay. And tell the jury, too, a little bit about yourself. You were a teacher for some time, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
spent 23 years in the classroom.
And what are you doing right now, currently, for your employment?
I'm back in a school as the registrar in an elementary school. So left the classroom, but still am in an elementary school doing what I think I'm good at, record keeping and crunching numbers.
And can you tell the jury a little bit about your daughter, her career path, why she became a teacher?
Yeah, well, ever since kindergarten, I was in Abby and Hannah's school. They were in the same grade, of course, being twins. So when they were in elementary school, I was a part of their school through their graduation of high school. So I taught elementary, then I moved to high school, and I'd always been a teacher in her school. I do think that Abby kind of grew to love the profession. She decided to go to college to be a teacher and earned her master's degree from James Madison. She did a 5-year program to be a teacher. Part of that decision-making process, she did some shadowing at West Point Elementary, where she spent some time in classrooms and kind of decided, yeah, this is what I want to do. I think I'd be good at this. Also at James Madison, she worked part-time in a preschool and kind of learned that she did love the little ones.
And I'm going to share with the jury right now, read a picture that you can tell us about from her graduation when you see it. We'll share with the jury.
Oh, you want me to talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was that was her graduation at James Madison.
And can you publish it to the jury, please? Thank you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, what number are we giving this?
And this will be plaintiff's 90A. Who's first? 90A.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
So without objection, published.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I see the big smile. Just so proud and happy to have accomplished what she accomplished. Looking right at the camera.
And that was the day of her graduation?
Mm-hmm. Yep, the ceremony at James Madison for her school.
And so on that day, did she know she wanted to be a teacher and that was her plan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She was already well on the path. She just had student teaching left, like that final year student teaching.
And where did she do her student teaching at?
She did the first part up in Harrisonburg. I believe it was a 3rd grade classroom, and then she was able to do the second half in Williamsburg. We lived in West Point at the time, so that was great because she lived at home for that last semester. And that was kind of fun because, you know, we were both teaching, both working on our lesson plans at night and getting our materials prepared and that sort of thing. That was fun.
And can you tell the jury a little about your daughter's interests and her personality before January 6, 2023?
Mm-hmm. Personality-wise, Abby is kind and gentle, very compassionate, the kind of person that people are very comfortable talking to. She makes friends easily. When she makes a friend, it's a deep friendship. She loves music. She loves nature. She learned to love hiking from her dad. They spent lots of time, all the kids did, with John hiking in the mountains. Funny. Abby's quiet, but just will, out of the blue, say something so dry and funny, catches you off guard. Yeah, and silly.
And I know this is a tough subject, but your husband has passed her father, correct?
Yeah, it's been 5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And tell the jury a little bit about her twin sister was a teacher, correct?
Yeah, Hannah taught for about 2.5 years, up until the time when this incident happened. Hannah did not go back to the classroom after that. But Hannah didn't train or study to be a teacher. She had an English degree, English and musical theater, and she kind of fell into a job because a high school needed an English teacher. So she taught provisionally with a provisional license, which she was, you have 3 years to do that. So she did that. I would not say it was her passion. I definitely feel like Abby, it became her passion. Like she knew that going into college, that that's what she wanted to do. Hannah sort of fell into it.
And how do you know that was?
The relevance of her sister's.
And we'll move on, Your Honor, from her sister's education.
All right, I will allow what has been testified
Thank
to,
you.
but ask you to move on.
And you stated it was Abby's passion. Why do you feel that that was Abby's passion, that distinguishment? Why do you feel that that's her passion over her sister?
Just the excitement, the joy, the dedication that she showed toward this. From student teaching on, the Saturdays she would go to yard sales looking for things to put in her classroom. The time that she would spend on her own time after hours creating materials, organizing things. She would light up when she kind of discovered some tricks to teaching reading to young kids, or the science lessons. She was always so excited to share things that, trees or birds or the solar system stars, things like that. That's passion when you get excited about it. She was excited to be in the classroom and teach those kids.
And Julie, now I want to talk about January 6, 2023. Can you tell the jury where you were at the time that you got a phone call about your daughter?
I was at work. It was the middle of the day, mid-afternoon after lunch. And my phone rang, and I typically don't answer my phone when I'm at work. And I didn't recognize the name or the number, so I ignored it. The phone rang again. And I thought, well, something's going on. Let me answer it and see who it is. And the name was Brianna Newton. And I knew who that was, but not in the moment. It didn't occur to me. I mean, it was so out of context.
And real quick, who was that, since you said you...
Abby's building principal.
Okay.
I'd never met her, but I knew the name, after the fact. But when the phone was ringing, I was at work. I didn't know. I picked it up on the second ring, the second time she called, and she said, Abby's been shot. Just like that. Abby's been shot. And she must have said she's at Riverside. And that was the extent of the conversation. Hung up, literally grabbed my jacket, lunchbox, bag, went to the next room and told my coworkers, Abby's been shot. And I ran out the door. I ran across the parking lot, got in my car. I was working in Williamsburg. Before I hit the first stoplight, I had called a friend from church. Abby's been shot. Please let our prayer group know, our Bible study group. Called my sister Karen, same thing. Drove to Williamsburg. I don't really remember the trip, but I know I was, driving way faster than I should have to get to the hospital. By the time I was getting close to the hospital, I remember I was hyperventilating and saying, I can't do this again. I can't do this again. I remember that thought.
I just object to that we're not here on Miss Werner's damages. We're here to talk about the daughters.
All right. Move it along.
With all due respect, Your Honor.
All I knew is that she had been shot. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know she was alive or not.
And so once you get to the hospital, who greets you at the hospital?
Well, nobody greeted me at the hospital. It was locked down. I didn't know that happened. So I got to the doors and I couldn't get in. And I could see police officers in the emergency room, and I didn't know what was going on. Again, all I knew, Abby'd been shot.
So you
That's all
didn't
I knew.
know by who, or
No,
when, or
no,
where?
I knew nothing. It was about 5 minutes, I'm guessing, when a deputy or a police officer came and let me in. And they didn't tell me anything. They just led me through the emergency room, down some long halls. And I realized we were headed to the sanctuary in the hospital.
So you ended up being brought to Abby in a room eventually, correct?
Eventually, yes, it was hours later.
Okay.
That
So at that initial time, you didn't know her condition. You weren't sure what was going to happen at that moment.
No, eventually I was told she was in surgery, so I knew she was still living. But right, I didn't really know much at that point.
So describe for the jury when you saw your daughter, what was her appearance like? What was her demeanor like?
I mean, she was in pain, you know, all bandaged up, all tubes and machines hooked up to her. Her arm was all wrapped up, and she saw me come through the room and she just said, "Mommy."
And you had shared, she normally doesn't call you mommy.
Oh no.
What does she normally call you?
I mean, just mom.
Yeah.
But I hadn't been mommy in years.
And when you saw her, was she able to communicate with you?
No, she was pretty out of it. I think she was in a lot of pain and just, you know, her eyes wide, like she was in shock and kind of didn't know what was going on.
And how many days was she in the hospital initially?
Maybe 4. I don't remember. I don't remember how many days she was there.
And tell the jury, when she was released, did she go home with you?
She did. She came to live with me so that I could take care of her. Yeah.
And what was Abby's condition when she was released to you?
When she came to my place, she had a cast, like a, you know, elbow all the way down,
And can we publish?
big and bulky.
I'm gonna put all the okay, thank you. And Your Honor, there is another photo that we'll be submitting as plaintiff's 9DB that I'd like to publish to the jury now.
Yeah, that's it.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, admitted and published.
So you were describing a cast. Do you see the photo in front of you? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that Abby on the day she was released from the hospital?
Yeah, because she's got her bag in her lap. We're wheeling her out, it looks like.
It looks like she has a smile on under her mask.
Yeah.
So the cast, the size of that cast, why is it that large? Do you know?
It was all the wrapping.
Okay, and was
They were
it
just
swollen?
So, yeah, it was very, very swollen, and all the wrapping. I mean, you can even see her fingers are swollen right there. Yeah, and this doesn't show the chest injury. She, you know, has a bullet hole in her chest, and the bullet's still in there. So you can't see that in that photo, but those were also part of her injuries.
And when you brought her to her house, what did the care of Abby look like? What did you have to do to help care for her at that time?
Anything that would require 2 hands. So she needed help dressing. She wore that t-shirt home, but we had to order like hospital gowns that would button, could get them around the cast. We kind of got into a routine, what you did first. We had to figure that out, you know, which arm goes first and so forth and so on. She needed wound care on her chest because that was a raw wound, so we had to take care of that. She couldn't bathe, she couldn't wash her hair, she couldn't wash her hands clearly, she couldn't eat something like a sandwich that would take 2 hands. She was unable to open her medicine bottle, she couldn't, you know, physically, these are things, any limitation she couldn't do with her 2 hands. So I was dressing her, I was cleaning her, putting the toothpaste on her toothbrush, taking the cap off her deodorant, helping her step into her underwear, helping her step into her sweatpants, putting the hospital gown on, all of that kind of stuff. She needed help doing.
So she wasn't even able to use the restroom alone at this time.
No.
And she wasn't able to shower for at least a month after, correct?
Yeah, it was a good month before she showered. Yeah,
And even then, you would have to help her with all of that.
correct.
And she wasn't able to drive during this time at all?
No, she wasn't driving.
And did she have medical appointments that she would have to go to?
She did. She had a lot of appointments. I took 2 weeks off work, and then her sister Hannah took time off after that to help get Abby to and from all the appointments and could, still take care of her.
And tell the jury, are there still medical appointments that she's dealing with to this day?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Abby is driving now, but she's still not done with surgery. She had her most recent surgery, I think it was number 6, was in April. She recently had a follow-up for that, and we're still just kind of waiting. She has a plate in her hand still, and it's not healing the way they want. That April surgery was actually a bone graft. They took bone out of her right hip and put it in her hand, and that's what they're watching for. That's what they're waiting on. She has another appointment in December, so it's just kind of like this waiting game. So between now and December, she's just continuing to wear the brace as much as possible and go to the doctor in December. And at that point, they'll decide if they're ready to remove the plate. If not, we're waiting more. Once all that's done, we still have more OT appointments ahead of her. So it's just kind of this never ending.
And just for the jury, OT, occupational therapy.
Occupational therapy, right, where she'll learn how to use the fine motor skills that she's lost with her left hand.
And describe your daughter's personality since January 6th of 2023.
Now, she's afraid a lot. Certain things scare her. Crowds, going to certain places she won't go to. Things I've never had to think about have been an issue for Abby. For example, we've had a couple of family like baby shower kinds of things with balloons, and the first time one of those balloons popped, it was traumatizing for Abby. It was like being right back there. Nobody in the family ever thought twice about not having balloons there. We don't think that way. We've never had to. But that's what Abby's world is now. Those things that you don't expect to trigger can trigger. Something else that happened fairly recently, we were going to go see a movie, and we even had the tickets. And the morning of the day we were going to go see the movie, Abby literally could not leave her house. She said, "I can't go. I don't want to go. There's a scene in that movie. I can't go."
Do you mind me asking what movie it was?
It was the film version of Hamilton. Okay. And I know there are a couple of dueling scenes in there. And I don't know if that's what she was referring to. That's what I think probably. But things I never would have thought about before. I'm learning to consider what her world is like. Just being afraid of things or things happening without warning, that kind of bring her right back. She really has trouble staying in touch with people. People reach out to her via text or leave a voice message, and she hears it, she reads it, she just cannot find the energy to reply or to commit or to call back or whatever it is. So that's been hard. I feel like she kind of is in a shell. She doesn't really have a purpose right now, where her job was the thing that centered her and fulfilled her and her way to make the world a better place. Abby's living from appointment to appointment, not really knowing what's next.
And how was she immediately after the hospital when she was staying with you for those first couple months with getting out of bed or trying to do things?
Abby, from that day, she has done everything the doctors have asked her to do, and she has really tried to get better. I mean, I applaud her, the way that she has just put one foot behind the other and just done what she needed to do to get better, to heal. She goes to therapy a couple times a week, to different therapists with different specialties. She's trying to get better. She's doing everything that she should be doing. But I see she's overwhelmed by it. I would say she's depressed.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay. And
Yeah, I'm gonna,
You can't-
any argument you want to make on that?
I'll ask her to, if Your Honor would allow, to describe the emotion, but you're not a doctor, so please be
Right.
mindful not to.
I'm not
We'll have
diagnosing
someone
her.
else correct. But
Right.
does she seem sad or happy?
So that's sustained.
Yes.
And
Okay.
striking the word depression. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. All right. You may proceed now.
So try to describe her emotion.
Well, I can describe what I see. She has trouble getting out of bed sometimes. She has trouble setting goals, making decisions. She does not find joy in things she used to find joy in. She sleeps a lot. So those are things that I see.
And at this time, do you know what Abby's plans are moving forward with a career?
No, because she can't make plans. She doesn't know what her future is going to look like. Assuming the hand gets as good as it's going to get, and she finishes OT and all that, she's in a lot of pain. It's painful.
And talking about that, she's had. How's her right hand, the one that was not shot with the bullet?
Right, and her right
Your Honor,
hand.
I'm just objecting. We're getting into medical testimony from a layperson. These are things that Ms. Zwerner herself can describe. I've allowed this to go on for a fair amount of time, but I'm going to have to object.
You have a response?
And Your Honor, I'm certainly not asking her to get into any medical conditions, but to describe, she's very familiar with her daughter. She's the one who's supporting her daughter and seeing the struggles and having to, open containers and do certain things for her daughter. She certainly understands what her daughter's capabilities are. So I'm more asking for the capabilities that she can observe her daughter doing.
All right. I'm going to overrule it, and you're permitted to certainly testify to your observations of things.
Okay.
All right.
What Abby has told me is that her right hand, even though it's her dominant hand, because she's having to compensate and use her right hand more, that is often sore now as well. And you were asking about future plans. None that we've discussed. She has shared that she doesn't want to go back into the classroom, which I think it saddens me, but I totally understand. I think Abby was becoming a really good teacher. And so that does sadden me, but I don't know what her limitations are going to be and what kind of work she'll be allowed to do or be able to handle.
And is there anything else that you want to share with the jury about your daughter since the shooting?
I would share that Abby has never complained. Not once have I heard her complain about what's happened and what she's been going through. She's more worried about others. In fact, today she wanted to be here when I'm up here to support me, and that's who Abby is. Yeah.
Thank you. You'll answer any of the judge's questions or opposing counsel.
Sure.
cross-examination?
Just a few questions, Ms. Werner.
Mhm.
Are you aware that your daughter's been to cosmetology school since the shooting?
Yes.
Okay, so there's some positive sides here. That was something she'd been considering before this event, correct?
No. No, she always liked doing hair, but cosmetology was not something that she'd considered as a career. No.
To your knowledge?
To my knowledge,
Okay.
correct.
But she did complete a 1 year of cosmetology
Right.
school, correct?
Mhm.
And she's become licensed as a cosmetologist,
Right.
correct?
That's right.
And she's also made a lot of media appearances. You talked about being out in the public. She's also made a lot of media.
I think she did two. One was in my home, and I think the other was at Diane's office.
She's been on the Today Show.
Right. They came to my home. It wasn't like out in the public.
Because it's putting yourself out in the public. Agree?
Sure.
And there's been a tremendous amount of community support for your daughter, correct?
I would say so, yes.
No further questions.
All right. Any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Is she excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and is she going to be recalled at any point?
Not from us, Your Honor, and speaking for Ms. Warner for a moment, I think she'd like to be in the courtroom, so unless there's intention from defense counsel to call her later in their case, we'd ask permission to release her and allow her to sit in the courtroom and observe the trial.
That was my next question. Any objection to releasing her at this time?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, you are now relieved of your subpoena as a witness. You may now stay in the courtroom if you so desire. Okay.